One of the biggest struggles of 2D artists is drawing from perspective. In fact, it can be very challenging to accurately represent a character or an object in 3D space on a flat surface. It gets even more complicated when you want to animate it and ensure the object has consistent form or anatomy. Those are problems 3D artists don't have to deal with. The advantage of using a 3D model is that its shape stays consistent all the time and you can view it from literally any angle you want. So back in 2021, instead of practicing drawing perspective and backgrounds like any sane person would do, I decided to learn 3D modeling so I wouldn't have to draw backgrounds anymore. And I liked it. Got carried away and ended up learning character modeling, 3D animation and rigging as well. 3 years have passed and I realized two things. One, after all this time doing 3D, I like it, but I still prefer 2D. And two, all the time I spent navigating inside a 3D viewport and messing with 3D models might have improved my drawing skills. But how is that possible? Well, I noticed that I am now more confident in drawing characters from perspective, foreshortening and even animating 3D rotations than I was ever before, and all that without actively practicing 2D this whole time. But I wanted to see if there were any scientific evidence on this subject to confirm my theories. And you'll be surprised, but I found that not only is it possible to become a better 2D artist by learning 3D, but I also found that there is a way to check if you have actually improved after practicing 3D by doing a specific exercise called mental rotation exercises. And I did one of those exercises to see if I was right, but we'll talk about that later. Right now you're probably wondering, how exactly does 3D help you with 2D? Well, it all boils down to visual spatial intelligence. Visual spatial intelligence is the ability to understand and manipulate objects in space. Think of it like building your own mental 3D playground. This intelligence is involved in activities like drawing, sculpting, navigating environments, and visualizing objects from different perspectives. It is a crucial skill for artists, especially 2D artists who need to understand perspective, form, and spatial relationships. Developing this skill can lead to improvements in drawing, animation, and overall visual thinking. Okay, but what does it have to do with using 3D software? Well, practicing 3D can improve your visual spatial intelligence, but how does it work? To understand it, we need to take a look at observation exercises. They are a fundamental part of any artist's training, and there are 4 types of observation exercises. But for this video, we only need 3 of them. The first one is drawing from life. This involves drawing real objects, people, or scenes, focusing on capturing details like form, value, perspective, and light. This directly translates to improving spatial reasoning and understanding how objects exist in 3D space, which is crucial for both 2D and 3D art. The second is perspective drawing. This involves understanding how objects appear to shrink and recede into the distance, creating a sense of depth on a flat surface. This skill translates directly to both 2D and 3D art, as it allows the artist to manipulate objects and scenes realistically in any medium. And finally, the third one, which I did to test myself, mental rotation exercises. These involve visualizing and mentally manipulating objects in your mind. This strengthens spatial reasoning skills and the ability to see objects from different angles, which is crucial for both 2D artists and 3D artists. Here is an example of a mental rotation exercise. The goal here is to determine if these 2 shapes are identical when rotated. So you have to create a mental image of the object from all directions, rotate the object mentally until a comparison can be made. Decide if the object is the same or not, and then report the decision as the reaction time is recorded. And honestly, this is more difficult than it seems. You can try it and see by yourself. In my case, I broke the rules and decided to draw the rotations, and I'll let you decide if these 2 objects are the same or not. Can you please tell us how is this related to practicing 3D? Well, using a 3D software offers a unique way to practice observation exercises. By manipulating objects in 3D space, artists can observe them from any angle, similar to physically moving around an object while drawing. This reinforces their understanding of form, perspective, and lighting. Also, rotating and manipulating objects in a 3D software strengthens the ability to visualize objects in space, which is a key skill for understanding perspective and creating depth in 2D art. Okay, cool, but how does it improve your 2D art skills? That happens through transfer of learning. But what is it? Transfer of learning is the idea that knowledge and skills learned in one task or domain can be applied and improve performance in a related task or domain. The effectiveness of transfer depends on factors like the similarity between the tasks, the learner's ability to recognize the similarities, and the way the learning is structured. The concept of transfer of learning supports the idea that skills learned in 3D software can be transferred and improve 2D art abilities. This is because 3D and 2D art share some underlying skills like spatial reasoning and understanding of form. In my case, this process was unintentional. I was not thinking about practicing observation exercises when doing 3D, But my results on the mental rotation exercises and my recent animation practices confirm that practicing 3D has improved my spatial reasoning skills, even though I had already a decent level in perspective drawing before learning 3D. The truth is, after learning 3D, I approach drawing characters and objects differently. I apply the same reasoning as when I'm using a 3D model in a 3D space. This allows me to imagine the shape of the subjects in different angles much better. And by the way, if you want to go further and do the experiment, you can do mental rotation exercises with your current level and compare it later with your results after you've learned 3D and see if there were any improvements. So, what can we take away from this video? There are currently no definitive studies that directly confirm practicing 3D can improve your 2D skills. However, similar studies and articles I found suggest that practicing 3D can potentially enhance your observation skills, and this improvement can then be transferred to your 2D art through a concept called transfer of learning. I think this could be the explanation for my own experiments. But as I mentioned, there isn't enough concrete evidence to draw a definitive conclusion. It'd be interesting to hear from other artists who have practiced both 3D and 2D to see their opinions on this. That being said, visualizing 3D objects and characters can definitely improve your observation skills. And the good news is you don't even need to learn complex 3D software. You can simply open Blender and load a 3D model to get started. While visualizing 3D objects can be beneficial, it's important to remember that there is no guarantee it will equally improve all aspects of your 2D art. For beginners, learning perspective through traditional 2D exercises remains essential to build the foundational knowledge required for creating art. In the meantime, I am having a lot of fun practicing custom-made mental rotation exercises and learning how to translate 3D rotations into 2D animation. Currently, I'm mostly focusing on anime style, as I mentioned in my last video, and I'm considering making a video about how you can animate this with Grease Pencil. If you're interested in learning how to make these types of animations with Grease Pencil, subscribe so you don't miss it. And in the meantime, you can watch this video to learn the basics of 2D animation in Blender. Thanks for watching and see you next time.